living, all right? So close as you can, so you can hear, test, and ask any questions that you have. Pastor, how many persons are still over there? Are they still coming over? Or? Okay, I wanted to give them some time to make it over, and then we'll get started. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I pray that you have had a blessed day. I certainly have been excited and grateful for us to journey together. And I think the most impactful opportunities that we have before us is not just the opportunity to visit spaces and places significant to the civil rights movement, significant to our history, but actually to hear from individuals who are very central to our story. And the young lady who I'm getting ready to present to you is no less than an American hero. Not just for what she endured, which she'll tell you a little bit about her story, but also for the courageous stances that she continues to take, particularly in pressing this nation and this state to push towards reparations. That's a word we've not really spoken of. Let me ask you a question. Give me a figure, if anyone can guess, how much money is owed to the descendants of the enslaved based upon the work they accomplished from 1619 to 1865. It's been quantified. There is a number. Anyone just throw out a number, and it could be a wild number. How much money do you think? Say much? 7 trillion. 600 million. Is that all right? Yes. 5 million. Say it again. 4, how much? 4 billion. Yes. 14 trillion. 150 trillion. Okay. All right. If the descendants of American slaves were paid in reparations, that which would have been earned by their ancestors, according to minimum wage from 1993, minimum wage, we would be owed $95 trillion. Okay? The GDP of this nation is under 20 trillion, right? And it makes sense because this nation was literally built upon the backs of our ancestors, right? So the request for reparations, or even the demand for reparations, is not unfounded, especially when you consider the fact that every other racial group in American history has received reparations except for black people. That's right. All right? And so she is courageously fighting, and I thank God for the fight, she and her husband, that we might be considered for reparations. She is known as the fifth little girl, Sarah Collins Rudolph, the only true eyewitness to the tragedy that unfolded here on September 15th, 1963. And it's a personal one because not only did it involve herself, but it involved her sister as well. This is an amazing book. I want you to see it right up front. The fifth little girl, sole survivor of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, the Sarah Collins Rudolph story. Really should be a movie. And I know you want to make sure that you purchase copies of this book because we have copies tonight that can be signed for you as well. They'll let you know how to do that. But I'm going to get out of the way because it really is a great privilege and honor to hear from Mrs. Rudolph. Won't you give her a great big welcome as she comes to share.
Good evening. It's so good to be here and to have you all here to hear my story on September 15, 1963. On that day, we was going to have a youth day program at the church, and we were so excited because the young people was going to attend, was going to be in the service. We was going to take up the offering, lead the devotion, and read scripture and worship on that Sunday. So it was my sister Janie Addy and we walked about a mile to church on that morning. And we were so excited. My sister Janie had a purse and it was shaped like a football. And we were just throwing it and catching it all the way to church. And so when we arrived, we went down in the basement to freshen up. Janie's class was upstairs, so she went on up to her class, and Addie and I, we decided to just stay in the ladies' lounge since we was late anyway that morning. So while we was in the ladies' lounge, that's when Denise McNair, Cynthia Wesley, and Carol Robinson, they came inside the lounge and spoke to us and went on the other side to use the restroom. So when they came out of the restroom, Denise McNair was in front of the girls. So she walked over to her Addie. Addie was across from me. I was at the sink, and Addie was by the couch. So they walked toward her, and Denise McNair asked Addie to tie the sash on her dress. And when she reached her hands out like this to tie, we just stood there looking at her, getting ready to tie it. But when her hand reached out to do it, boom, the bomb went off. So all I could do was holler, Jesus, Addie, 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 but she didn't answer. I didn't know what had happened to her because I was blinded from the debris that rushed in. I thought the girls had ran on the other side where the Sunday school area was. So, but all of a sudden I heard someone holler, somebody bombed the 16th Street Church. And his voice was so clear, though he was in there with us. And I found out who this man was. His name was Samuel Rutledge. He was upstairs in his classroom. And he told me later on that year, when he seen me, he said that when he heard the noise downstairs, he decided to come down and see what had happened. But when he began to take the step was blown away. So what he did, he jumped down and he looked in the crater, got the bomb had blew a crater in the church, and he seen me standing. So he came in and he brought me out of the church, and the ambulance was already out waiting. So they rushed me over to Hilma Hospital. They changed the name to it now, it's the UAB Hospital. So when I arrived, somebody told me to lay on the cot because the eye doctor wasn't in. So while I laid there, my sister Janie came in, and the first thing I asked her was, where's Addie? She said that Addie had hurt her back, but she was going to visit me tomorrow. So I said, okay. So I went on and up and they operated on my eyes. So when I came to my room, my mother was waiting, And that's when I found out that all the girls that was in the lounge with me that morning, they was all killed and I was the only survivor. All I could do was wonder, why did they kill those girls? They're sweet girls, you know, never did anyone any harm. And I was I kept wondering to myself, it had left me with a very nervous condition because of the fact that that bomb was real loud. My husband used to go to the church on the south side, and our church was on the north side. He said it shook his church. It was, I don't know what kind of explosion they had, but it was something that really should have made me deaf. It was so loud. But anyway, they kept the patches on my eyes for a few days, and the doctor took the patches off my left eye, asked me, what do I see? I said, I just see a little light. He took them off my right eye and asked me the same question, what do I see? And I said, I can't see anything. So I was blind in my right eye from the bomb. So I was in the hospital a month or so, and when I was beginning to be released, that's when the doctor told my mother to bring me back that February because they was going to have to remove my right eye. If they didn't remove my right eye, I would go blind in my left eye. So, you know, during that time, I didn't get any counseling. You know, back during those days, you know, they didn't counsel kids like they do now. So I just had to go to church, back to school in a terrible condition. Nervous and fearful, still jumping from that loud sound when I hear, because during that time, those cars was backfiring, making that noise, and every time I would jump. But the people that put the bomb in the church, it was Robert Chambers, Thomas Blanton, and Bobby Frank Cherry, and Herman Cash. But they had Robert Chamberlain trial in 1977 because Denise McNair's parents, they put him on trial. And it took really 39 years before Thomas Blanton and Bobby Frank Cherry went to trial. Just 35 years, just 39 years, that's a long time. And oh yes, and they was old, and they didn't went in jail no more than 8 years because they died. But it just took too long. And Herman Cash, they didn't get a chance to have his trial because he died before they had his trial. But that was something that shouldn't ever happen. You know, 16th Street Baptist Church was really Martin Luther King headquarters, where he would bring the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and they would have mass meeting at the church. I remember on one Easter, Martin Luther King was standing up the stairs of the church, but during that particular time, the children was going downstairs to watch the Ten Commandment movement. So he was upstairs and telling people to come on into the mass meeting, and that's where they would get together and plan the marches, you know, Shuttlesworth and Southern Christian Leadership Conference. They did a lot to get things segregated in Birmingham, desegregated, because the whites, they wanted to keep things segregated. We had Governor Wallace standing in the courtroom, a schoolhouse door, saying segregation today, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. So when they began to desegregate the school, that's when everything started getting bad, because they didn't want blacks to attend white schools. We had this white school about a block from our house, but we had to go to the white school, and it was Robert Chamberlain that said this. He said that a white until Sunday, the blacks would, the color, that's what they call it then, the color would beg us to keep things segregated. So that's why I really believe they put the bomb in the church to kill those girls. But anyway, the Civil Rights Bill was passed because so many people up north, they began to see how we was treated during that time. When the marches were marched, they put the dogs on the marches. They put the fire hoses on marches, and the pressure from that water, it was so heavy until it could knock box off a tree. But these young people, they kept on marching, they kept marching, and now we have the Civil Rights Bill passed because, Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, he was going to sign the Civil Rights Bill, but they killed him before he signed it. So Lyndon Baines Johnson, he signed the Civil Rights Bill, and I just thank God that he did it because there was some tough time in the city, in the city of Birmingham, state of Alabama, because they call Birmingham, they call it Birmingham. It was so many bombs that was going off in that church, and we was noted for to be a magic city, but they began to call it the tragic city, because it was so much going on, and we had this freedom now simply because of the people that marched to voting marches when John Lewis was hit, by those troopers, because it was so bad. They was putting horses. They was walking on them. They were stampeded by the horses, and also they was using tear gas on the marches. But they finally got the voting rights bill passed. When the people would try to go vote, they would had to pay poll tax, and had a jar of jelly beans and asked them how many jelly beans in a jar, things like that, and how many bubbles in a bar of soap, and they just really humiliated blacks. But I just thank God they finally got the voting rights bill passed, and now, so when young people get up in age, when all you get up in age, I know there's some young people here too, please go out and vote.
Please, please.
Please go out and vote.
Please. Very important to vote. Please vote.
Because so many people was injured, so many people were killed. I don't know, did y'all see that as they began to cross the Petmus Bridge, how the horses was running over them, and how the troopers began to beat them with their billy stick just because they wanted the right to vote. So please go out and vote so we can get someone in office that would help us instead of just helping billionaires. So thank you.
Somebody forgave you, sir.
Oh, yes.
You got one more thing.
I really forgave those guys that injured me because I couldn't continue to hold that in me, and I've been feeling much better since then. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you for your courage, and as always, thank you for sharing your story. And now, because you've heard it, you have the responsibility of sharing it as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And thank you also for your closing remarks. We'll be in Selma tomorrow. And the unfortunate truth is that the Voting Rights Act has basically been gutted.
Yes, sir.
And we are starting back at square one.
Yes, sir.
Okay? But this is a fight for this generation, and I believe that we can win if we fight together. Okay? Let's see if there are any questions that anyone has. They ought to, for sure. Any questions? Six. Thank you, Pastor. We have another mic.
Thank you. I don't know if this is too personal or not, but it struck me when you said there was no counseling available to you at the time that this happened. Have you since received counseling, or do you feel like this is something that you really should have had and still have a need for? I applaud the fact that you can stand here today and recount that, but I am wondering about the mental health aspect of it.
Oh, yes, I went for a long time without counseling, but, I went to church one night, and God, he brought a lot of the healing to me, because it was really tough, and I went until I got to be in my 40s when God touched me, and he healed me. It was a prophet that came up to me, and he began to tell me what he sang about me, and I never did mention it to no one, but he said that God was showing him that I had a nervous condition, and I suffered with a lot of fear. So he laid his hands on me, and he prayed, and I was walking in the newness of life. And then after that.
But I just want to say one thing. 9/11, Boston Marathon, Mother Emanuel, all those families was compensated, but my wife, she has never received any restitution from the state of Alabama. When she go to the doctor to take out her right eye, she has to pay out of her pocket. She shouldn't have to pay. But the state refused to honor her request for restitution, and that is so wrong, and I'm upset about it. Because when she go to the eye doctor, she got to come out of her pocket and pay. And she should have free life insurance. She should have free life insurance. And since the incident happened, those guys got away with murder. They lived their life while my wife suffered. They lived their life. And when they did go to prison 30-some years later, they died. So really, it was no justice for Sarah, and she still has not received justice.
Let's say this, because you opened it up. Anyone remember Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yes, sir.
What did he do?
Killed them.
Killed some people at a Black Lives Matter protest?
Yes, sir.
Broke a number of gun laws crossing state lines?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So he became famous for killing people fighting for justice.
That's right.
And he's gotten paid for it, too.
Brother.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
One of the more lucrative things you can do in America today is to be a white supremacist. Okay? All type of money pours in. But
Yes,
think
sir.
about the lack of care that has happened to the literal victims of white supremacy in this country. Okay? Japanese Americans got reparations for what happened to them during World War II. Indigenous communities have received the same. Jewish communities for the Holocaust.
Yes, sir.
But what reparations have come to those who have suffered from the Marfa? Have you heard that term before? Okay, we're going to look it up. The Marfa is the Black Holocaust.
Yes, sir.
How many people died in the Jewish Holocaust? They say 6 million. How many died in the Black Holocaust? Still going. Okay, so these are considerations. If a budget is a moral document, what does it say that there has been no room in the budget to pay for?
Yes,
Not that
sir.
you can give a price tag for it,
Yes, sir.
but to give some compensation for those who suffered white supremacist violence. And President.
I was just going to say to the notion of reparations that I feel like the reason why we haven't gotten it is because they don't want to admit what they did to us was wrong. And so they're able to admit the wrongs that they did in the Jewish Holocaust. They're able to admit the wrongs with the American Indians, but they don't want to admit what they've done with us is wrong. And to see them still do that, and to still see how they treat us now, and to hear your story and the fact that it took them 39 years to even try to prosecute the people that did it, and they know who did it. I think that just goes to show a lot as to why it's important for us to truly understand where we are and why we're dealing with a lot of what we're dealing with
That's
now
right.
as well.
Woo. I thank you for that. Thank you.
Other questions? Pastor? Yes, sir.
Thank you for your bravery. And as I said earlier, this whole experience is overwhelming to me.
Yes, sir.
It really is. Having studied this stuff from elementary school through college, it's different when you can touch it. And to have someone that actually could smell the gunpowder,
Yes, sir.
how do you, am I making sense? How do you know what I mean? You are a treasure. You are an absolute treasure.
Thank you so much.
And it's a crying shame the way they have treated you since 1963. It is absolutely a crying shame.
Yes, sir. You right.
But I thank God for you. I count it a privilege to have been here to actually hear your story. And as long as my body is still warm, I'm going to repeat it everywhere I go.
Yes, sir.
And just thank you for being who and what you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
so much. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments that either of you have? Anyone? Others right here. And then over here.
Thank you for talking about your situation. It's very like mind-blowing and interesting, like to know that you had like went through something like this. Very like traumatizing. And I just have the question: did your community or did anybody like around in your community help you during this situation?
Oh, no. You know, that when it happened and everything, about when the bomber went off, so many people in my community, they just left Birmingham because they were so fearful because so many bombs was going off. Well, we wanted to leave, but we didn't have no family to move in with. But I remember some of my friends in school, they had people out of town, you know, they went to live with them. But all of my people was in Birmingham, Alabama already. So we just stayed.
I'll close with a question over here.
I had a comment about your question about earlier. So about the respirations, I feel like we should have at least like 100 million. That would be. And I'm not doing this. I'm trying to look out of the picture and see, and what I've seen from what I heard about Black history and what they done to us, and I look at what they done to others and how much they gotten from the respirations, I do feel like we do deserve that 100 million.
Yeah.
And it would be separately sold to all of us.
But anyway, when we tried to get reparations, we went to our governor, and this is what she said. She said, Sarah do deserve a heartfelt apology but she wasn't in office at that time.
See, the thing of it, what's the difference between 9/11, Boston Marathon, and Mother Man and Sarah's situation? It's the same thing. But the state of Alabama, they don't want to honor my wife's request for restitution. And that's the problem I have. I got a serious problem.
Another group of individuals who have received reparations are former enslavers.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of that? When in England they ended slavery,
Yes,
1835, I think 1830. It's in the 1830s. They decided that they will continue to pay out to the families of enslavers the money that they lost.
Yes, sir.
When did they finish paying for those reparations? 2016. So much of the wealth, even in England, that's been paid out over almost 2 centuries, was paid out to enslavers because of the money that they lost because they could no longer hold humans as chattel. So when we say that everyone has received reparations, we literally mean everybody that you can think of has received some type of financial benefit from what they have lost, except for black people. Okay? Final questions. We're going to have any final questions that you have for Ms. Rudolph or Mr. Rudolph? Yes, sir.
Well, first off, it's amazing to hear from you. I'm in awe just listening because this is things that you read about in the history books, but to have history speak to you through a person that was affected by it. But my question is, some of the words that popped up today was justice and community, but seeing that those things did not show up for you, have you found yourself redefining what those words mean to move forward?
Yeah, like I said, justice would mean to really give me reparation for the suffering that I've done, you know, and also for the death of my sister that was killed, because I remember my mother, she was waiting. Somebody said that they was going to give her reparation, but she never did get it, so she just died waiting. So that was the end of that.
See what I'm talking about? This state of Alabama and the city of Birmingham. I got some choice words, but I just can't say them in the church. Go ahead, young man.
How can we support you in getting restitution?
All right. How can we support you?
Right.
Give that a hand. Come on. How can we support you?
Right, the governor of Alabama,
Yeah, right, the governor.
Kay Ivey. We have a female governor in Montgomery, Alabama.
Kate Ivey.
But it ain't gonna do no good because we done tried, man. Woo, you just don't know how hard we done tried, but they closed the door. And then they try to say this happened in '63. What they got to do with it? It happened. It happened in '63, but it happened. My wife lost her right eye. She don't have but one good eye. She suffered with PTSD. She deserved it. But they want to close the door. I get upset about it. Whew.
I got an idea. I hope I'm not out of order, but we do have 2 buses, and they're going to be with us tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to be in the city of Montgomery, and one of our stops is going to be at the state capitol. Could be an opportunity for some young person, should they decide
Yes, sir.
that they want to stand up and say something right at the seat of power.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for permission to do what's right.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you just got to seize an opportunity. So I'll let y'all decide what you want to do, but there's free transportation. Maybe not free, it's paid for somebody. And there's a time at the Capitol that's already on the schedule.
Yes, sir.
Maybe there's room for some young people to come up with a press conference or a statement. And with these devices here, guess what? What you say can reach the entire world.
That's right.
Something to consider. All right, any final questions?
I hope y'all get my wife's book.
Yes, no, we're
She
gonna
didn't
have
get
to.
into everything, but she didn't go into every detail, but it's in that book, 35.
$35 for the books today, okay? I'm gonna say this for you. First, let's give them once again a great big hand. Thank you so very much. Just some quick instruction. We'll find the opportunity, and I do mean this, and please hear me, okay? Your Jordans cost more than $35, okay? But those things are gonna wear out, but the stories that you have not only will carry you forward, but you'll be able to pass those down, okay? So I want to encourage you to make an investment in our history and in literacy because it will bless your life. I shared this with you. We're going to take a group picture. There'll be opportunity to purchase books, and then Director Skinner, we will move back to the buses unless there's any other instruction that any of you have for tonight. Brother Elijah, can you come up real quick? I've been so privileged and honored over the course of this last year to work alongside as we have done the work together of the Freedom School. And I want to acknowledge, because I've been pumping it up, because it really is a point of great pride for me. I'm the National Director of Black Voter Engagement for an organization called Vote Common Good. We're touring the country doing a lot of work, but I'm always inspired by individuals who are on the grassroots and are doing the great work. And Brother Elijah was recently elected as the first vice president of the Young Democrats of the state of Mississippi. You ought to give that a great big hand because we got great leadership here, all right? And the YPD leads the efforts for voting. So maybe say a word about how they can get plugged into voting, and then I know you have a presentation off.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, y'all sound tired. Good evening, everyone. Okay, because this should have fired you guys up to be active civically when you go home, because if it's not, what are you really doing? But you guys, I encourage you to, when you do go home, this means nothing if you don't go into your community, if you don't go into your school systems, if you don't go to your local churches and speak about what's happening nationally, because what's happening nationally will affect you at home. And if you choose not to vote, just remember, you are voting because the other person will, right, okay? So what we're gonna need you guys to do is have those tough conversations with your friends. And sometimes people don't care about voting. Let's just be real about the conversation. But you can make them care by showing how it affects them. And it's never too late to teach someone what's going on civically. So I implore you guys to take on these initiatives that you're learning here at Freedom School, take them home, because we will be not doing our job if we don't give you the tool list to take to your community. So thank you guys for coming, and without further ado, I want to bring Miss Sarah Collins back up here. Well, she's signed, let's see. But I would like to bring my director, Rochelle, up here too. Also, as she comes up here, let's just give her a round of applause, because you guys, this is true bravery at its finest. So if you are a YPDer, I would like you to stand up, please. If you are a YPDer, on behalf of the Connection YPD, we would like to give you a token of our appreciation. And we know it is not going to cover everything, but we would like to say that you touched us, and your story will continue to live on through each one of us in the communities that we go into. And your name will live forever, because we're going to make sure that your message is clear, and what happened to you will be told. So on behalf of the Connection YPD and our director, Dr. Rochelle Fry-Skinner, we would like to give you a token of our appreciation. Thank you. Oh. I would also like to bring up our president, Joyce. My apologies.
Let me say one thing. I want to thank Reverend Ward. I want to thank all of y'all for coming to hear my wife's story. It means a lot to us. Thank you for taking the time. Reverend Ward, this is our second time with you. You're a good man, but you sparred me. God is using you
Okay. All right, so we're going to take our picture. Again, the books are available for those who would purchase. Some of you are already taking that opportunity. Pastor Sterling, thank you so much once again. Let's give God praise once again for St. John's. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciated the last question about what we can do, okay, because that actually is the spirit of this work. Sankofa is a car to move us from remembrance to action, okay? So I'll leave you with this, and then we will have a photograph together as appropriate. Is this up here? Is that fine to get everybody together? And then we'll make our way back to the buses to make our way back to Montgomery. 18 states in America have passed laws or enacted policies to restrict how race, racism, and historically, quote-unquote, divisive concepts can be taught. Among those states, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, Montana, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Utah, and Virginia. And I want to conclude by making this statement. It's something that I've shared previously with Ms. Rudolph. In my state, it would be illegal to teach that the Ku Klux Klan was morally wrong in bombing 16th Street Baptist Church. You heard what I said? That the Klan that enacted this great harm, you could not say as a teacher that it was wrong to do. How many of you think it was wrong that the church was bombed? And think it was wrong that no restitution has come, okay? So this is the reason why we have to fight, and you are the generation to bring us into the promised land, okay? Let's come on up. We're going to take a picture together with Miss Rudolph, and then we'll be on our way. Thank you very much. And Mr. Rudolph as well. Now, you do have that up there. You do have, can you come up there? Come up there. All right, everyone, the photograph's going to come from the balcony, so you can actually stand in these rows too. Okay, you can stand in these rows too, but you're going to come down looking at us, okay? On both sides, you can stand in the rows as well. You can stand in the aisle as well, all the way across. Yes, sir. That's going to be perfect. It's up to you, Pat. Whatever you want. You fine? Okay. Dr. Sterling said also it's fine for a few of you to come back into the chancel rail as well, just to be seen. So come on, even leadership may be good for you to be there. The photo's going to come from the top down, so make sure that everyone is seen. request is